We are literally on the brink of a complete global financial disaster as we see major banks going under, needing to be bailed out by their government. And yet the Bitcoin price has been very bullish during the past week. And there's never been more uncertainty in these markets than there is right now, as everybody awaits the Federal Reserve's announcement next week of what they plan to do with the interest rates. What I like to do when things are very uncertain is I like to look at the technicals on the chart and then interpret the fundamentals through the technicals so that I can position myself advantageously in the coming days, weeks, and months. So that's what we are going to do today. Make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, make sure to click that bell for notifications because we are bringing you the juicy and the most timely Bitcoin updates here on YouTube. And yes, guys, Bitcoin did get two very strong bounces. The first bounce after this big pullback from around $19,500, the level that we gave in the Casper Crew VIP Discord, and then yesterday finding support at around $24,000, also the trade setup that we gave in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. Now, here is the thing. Next week, the Federal Reserve is going to be making the rate hike decision, and this is very, very important as we are seeing major banks collapse. Now, here's why. This is essentially a give and take. If the Federal Reserve continues to hike interest rates, we are going to see a stronger dollar. That is why they've been raising rates during the past year. Inflation was getting out of control, the dollar was becoming weaker, and so they needed to rein it in, make the dollar stronger to lower inflation. When they raise interest rates, this will create a stronger dollar. This will cause risk assets like stocks and crypto to get lower. This will lower inflation, but unfortunately, this causes banks to get wrecked. When the interest rates go up, the banks end up in losses, unrealized losses, which eventually will bite them in the butt. Now, when the Fed does the opposite of raising interest rates, which is stimulating the economy, quantitative easing, aka the printing press, this will keep banks afloat. This is how the Federal Reserve bailed out banks after the 2008 crisis. They bailed out these big banks by printing a whole bunch of money, keeping these banks afloat. Unfortunately, this increases inflation. It causes the dollar to get weaker, giving the dollar less purchasing power. But this also causes risk assets like crypto to pump. Why? Because if the dollar has less purchasing power, that means if you have an asset, an actual asset, you are going to need more dollars to purchase that asset. It's a give and take. And so right now the Fed is in between a rock and a hard place because due to the rate hikes, the banks are going under. And so the banks need a little printing, right? The banks need a little stimulus, baby. They need a little QE. But if the Fed starts stimulating, if the Fed starts easing off on their tightening, that is going to cause inflation to go up again. So what are they going to do? Well, as we await the decision next week, we can see that right now the market itself usually is pretty good at pricing in what they think the Fed is going to do. All right, they've been pretty accurate actually at predicting what the Fed is going to do, and this has actually been priced into the markets beforehand, causing either bullish or bearish price action. In fact, I think it was last week when Jerome Powell came out and gave a speech, he was a little bit hawkish, and it caused some things to happen. People were thinking he was going to increase interest rates, maybe even 0.5%, 50 basis points. Well, right now, after everything that's going on, it seems like 25% actually think he's not going to raise interest rates at all. And 75% think he's only going to raise interest rates 25 basis points. So right away, we are starting to see that although just a few weeks ago, it seemed like the Fed was going to continue to increase interest rates faster than they were expecting to have to, it looks like we're heading now in the direction of the printing press, right? We're heading not in the direction of more rate hikes, but in the direction of higher inflation, keeping these big banks afloat. So very, very interesting to see what is going to happen in the coming days. Now that brings us to the Bitcoin price action because as we understand right now, the Bitcoin price is at a very, very key level, that $25,000 zone. This is key for so many reasons. It is a major resistance. It is the Fibonacci golden pocket retracement from the last major swing high on the monthly time frame to the last major swing low on the monthly time frame. It's the 200-week moving average. It's the value area high of this massive range. Okay, now let's talk about what would happen if Bitcoin breaks out of this level, because we have to understand that if Bitcoin does break this level, we are going to see a big impulse that's bigger than most people are prepared for. And here's why. If we take a look at all the volume that's traded here, we can see that there's no volume above this level, meaning we will get sucked up like a vacuum right into this $30,000 level. And if we reclaim the $30,000 level, essentially, guys, the sky is the limit, and here's why. We will be entering back into the old range that we traded in 2021 and 2022. And what I mean by old range is this. When we are analyzing price action, we need to look at the volume. The volume is at what price did most of the asset exchange hands, right? At what price did most of the asset exchange hands? This gives us a fair value zone where the market prices in a fair value for the asset, where if the price comes above there, it's considered overvalued. If the price comes below, it's considered undervalued. This is how we trade, right? This is how in the Casper Crew VIP Discord yesterday, we literally gave the short from the top of this low time frame range and gave the long from the bottom of this low time frame range, because it's all depending on what time frame you're looking at, high and low. You know, objectively speaking, we can determine what is high and what is low. And by the way, if you want to join the Casper Crew VIP Discord, where we give the trade setups in advance, we give the levels in advance every single day. We do 3 live streams a day, walking you through the live price action for every single market session. You can go to patreon.com/Jason Casper. Also, to take advantage of 0% limit fees on ByBit. Great if you're trading lower time frames like what we do. Check out the link in the description and the pinned comment to get 0% limit fees on derivative contracts as well. If you deposit $100, you get 1 month free of our awesome tool, the Crypto Fusion Trading Bot. This will trade for you. It's great for people who can't be at the charts all day. For more information on the bot, check out the website, jasoncaspertrading.com. Click Jason Casper Trading Bot. Okay, so if we break above this very key zone of resistance, we're going to come back up into this fair value zone. And if price comes back into an old fair value zone, it becomes more probable than not that we make our way up toward the top. Case in point is what has happened very locally, where over the past year, we established a fair value zone right here. Right? When Bitcoin came below that fair value zone and then came back in, it was very quickly that we filled to the top. Now, we do have this inverted head and shoulder pattern that many people are aware of printing right now on the chart. This is a very bullish pattern. Most of the time, they break to the upside, and most of the time, these targets are respected. So what that means is if we break this neckline at around $25,000, if we can close a weekly candle above here, I will get very, very bullish on Bitcoin. And if we make it above the $30,000 level, then the target of this head and shoulder is the high volume node for pretty much all, well, not all, but half of 2022. Half of 2022 at around $38,000. This could be a very, very bullish move. And I want to discuss a few things because a lot of people say, look, this cannot happen. This is not going to happen. Well, we need to understand what happens during these market cycles, during these macro market cycles. If we go back and we look at what happened to Bitcoin back in the day before the current cycle, right? We look at these old cycles. Well, what do we see? We see that when we bottom out in between the 786 and the 886 fib, and we print a bottom signal on market Cipher B below the monthly time frame, green dot, that we tend to get a massive relief rally. All right, let's take a look at what happened in 2019. Okay, 2019. When we bottomed out, we got a massive relief rally. You can see right here. Just let's look at this chart for a second. Okay, this is the bear market, guys. We are looking right now at the last bear market. And if anybody has not been through, if you were not around in crypto during this bear market, it was absolutely devastating, guys. It was devastating. Bitcoin was at $20,000. Everyone was feeling on top of the world, including myself. And then everybody thought the bottom was in, the bottom was in, the bottom was in, the bottom was in. All of a sudden, we're back down at $3,000. And everybody was completely like devastated at the time. And then we get this relief rally, okay, still during the bear market, but we get a massive pump coming back up to $14,000, coming up 330%. We're closer to the all-time high of the previous bull market than we were of the bottom of the bear market. And this is, again, guys, this is during a bear market, right? So the reason I'm bringing this up is because, like I said, I'm interpreting the technicals through the lens of the fundamentals. And right now, the fundamentals are telling me that banks are teetering on the brink of collapse. And the Federal Reserve is going to have to start to ease off on their economic policies in order to keep these banks afloat. Okay? This is just the factual things that are happening right now. The Fed is going to have to either allow the entire system to collapse, or they are going to have to print in order to keep this system afloat. Right? That's literally what it is right now. And so if we start to see that happen, it could be the catalyst that catapults us into a more of a relief rally right now, potentially hitting the target of this inverse head and shoulders. Now, when we go back to the actual Bitcoin chart, okay, and we just take a look at what has happened ever since we bottomed out at around, let me zoom out of this chart. Ever since we bottomed out around the, well, let's all go all the way back to December, the $16,300. The moves to the upside have been very impulsive and very, very strong. And the pullbacks have been very, very slow and very, very weak, right? I remember when we took the short from up here saying this could very well be a swing short back down to the low of the range. Well, we kind of bled down slowly all the way down to here, and then boom, massive pump where we come up to this key resistance. We also shorted it in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. We long and short, guys. We are not racist when it comes to red and green over here. We long and short. I am currently in a short trade right now from that high. And, you know, again, I've already locked in a profit, taken a profit, stop loss to entry. Not a big deal if this trade gets stopped out. But yeah, we're expecting potentially all of these levels to give us massive swing shorts. But look, we bleed down very slowly. We had a little Silvergate bank collapse that brought us down a little bit faster. But then, boom, a massive pump after we get that the USDC depegging, and people are like FOMOing into crypto. Well, once again, we reject from the most important level of resistance that we could possibly imagine, the 25-week moving average, the golden pocket, the value area high of a massive range, and we slowly come down over the past 2 days. And even right now, we're starting to get a daily candle that already is surpassing this previous purple candle. Okay, now, I'm not saying we can't come down from here, but all I'm saying is based on the chart alone, we are in an uptrend. The impulses to the up are very strong. The moves down are very weak and very slow. And if we see next week that the Federal Reserve comes out and does not raise interest rates at all, this could be very, very bullish for crypto. This could act as a catalyst to get more of a pump, right? This is kind of what I am hoping for. This is what I am waiting for. This is why I am still holding my swing long trades for much, much lower. Okay, so if we do not close a weekly candle above this golden pocket, then I think things are starting to look very weak. And then I think there is a real danger that this will play out, right? We have a very, very, very bearish divergence on the daily time frame, money flow crossing to the purple as the price is getting higher. This is the make it or break it moment for me. And if we do not close that weekly candle, I would want to close the weekly candle above $26,000. If we don't do that, these divergences could very well confirm, especially if we start to come down into range. Now, for me, the last hope of support that I have before I say, all right, there's a good chance we're going to be coming back down to the low of the range is going to be the $22,200 level. Very key support right here. If we lose this, I would say, okay, it's likely that we put in a major high and that we can look to get a move to the downside. But I do want to say this. Even if we get a move to the downside right now, even if we put in a lower low right here, let's say we do come down to like the $11,000 level. For me, this is very, very bullish given the circumstances of everything that is going on where we are seeing the traditional finance system fail. People are going to understand what Bitcoin is, what Bitcoin was created for, and it was created as a way to bypass the corrupt financial system that exists. And when we look at the technicals combined with the fundamentals, we understand that we are at the bottom of the bear cycle, meaning even if the lowest price is not in, we're at the bottom of the cycle, which means if we do get a move to the downside, if we have dry powder on the side to deploy that capital, we can DCA in here. This is the time to be DCAing. These are the times that people who found out about crypto at the top of the bull market wish they had been in crypto, right? Last bull cycle, so many people when Bitcoin was 50K, 40K, they're like, oh, if only I had gotten in at 3K, if only I had gotten in at 10K, if only I had gotten in at 15K. But people were FOMOing in at the top. Well, guess what, guys? 20K and below is the new 10K and below, right? 15K is the new 3K, in my opinion. Well, let's say maybe 9K is the new 3K. I think that's the lowest we'll possibly go. My point is, if we are diligently making a plan right now, understanding that historically speaking, there's a very high probability that the low of the cycle is in, even if we do come down, worst case scenario, right, to a $3,000 Bitcoin. That's literally a worst case scenario. And we come all the way up to a conservative $100,000 Bitcoin in the next bull market, we are still potentially making 4 times more reward than we are risk if we were just FOMO in everything we had right now. But if we DCA along the way down, we very well may have an opportunity to make 10 times more reward than risk on our Bitcoin investment and ride this bull market to the next high. And if we start to see inflation continue to go up, we may see Bitcoin hit even higher targets. We may see $150,000, which case would give us a very, very good risk to reward ratio. And if we're just looking at risk versus reward It's actually more risky not to be DCAing into Bitcoin right now than it is to be DCAing into Bitcoin right now. With that being said, guys, may everybody be blessed in the name of Jesus the Messiah. Even if you are not religious, I pray you are very blessed, and I will see everybody in the next video. Peace.